Oh, hello. Welcome back.
Yes, hello. Welcome to That's English. You look tired, Ashley. Are you OK?
I am a bit tired. I moved house yesterday. I didn't know I had so much stuff.
Oh, what's your new place like?
Great. It's a flat. It's airy and spacious and modern. And I have a new flatmate.
Oh, what's he like?
He is a she, actually. Lois.
A girl. Oh, have you shared with a girl before?
No, but I think it's going to be great. I'm really untidy. I leave dirty clothes on the floor and I hate washing up, so she can clean and tidy up.
I wouldn't say that to Lois if I were you.
I'm only joking, Annabelle. I think Lois and I will be good flatmates. She seems very reliable, someone you can trust.
Well, I hope so. You know, today's episode is all about relationships and making a good impression when you first meet someone.
That's right.
Shall we watch?
Yes, but first, here is our question. What does Faisal think of Gary?
That's his desk, isn't it? Look at the mess. What do you think of him?
He's hard-working.
He's extremely untidy and not very reliable.
You're right about that, but he's ambitious and he wants to do well for the company.
You're good mates, aren't you?
No, he's not a friend of mine. He's the son of an old friend of my mother's, but to me, he's just a work colleague. I like him.
I'm interested in the three-bedroomed house in New Road. It's one of yours, isn't it?
Yes, it's one of ours.
It's been on the market for ages, hasn't it?
No, just 2 weeks.
What's the asking price?
235,000.
What? Rupees?
No, 235,000 pounds.
You're joking.
No, that's the correct price.
A friend of my husband's bought a similar house for £190,000, and it was in much better condition.
Was that 20 years ago?
Pardon? Look, I'd like to view the property, but I won't offer more than 200,000.
Rupees. I'm sorry, madam, but it's a waste of your time and mine. I know our client won't be interested. Have a good day.
You get on well with your colleagues at work, don't you?
Yes, except for the boss. Faisal doesn't like me, does he?
Can I help you?
Oh, 2 cappuccinos, please.
That'll be £5, please. I'll bring them over when they're ready.
I'll get this. Thank you. We think you behaved badly towards a client of ours this morning.
I guess you mean the woman who asked about number 47.
Yes. You shouldn't be so impatient or aggressive.
But she was rude. No one should be that rude, should they? She needs to kick up the bum.
No, I wouldn't do that if I were you.
I don't believe she was serious.
If clients are rude to you, you should stay calm, shouldn't you?
Yes, you're right about that, sorry.
2 cappuccinos.
Oh,
Thank you. You didn't take her contact details, did you?
No, but I know where I can get them. I'll ring her and apologise.
That's a good idea. You should never fall out with a client. It's unprofessional.
Oh, dear. I don't think that Gary is making a good impression, do you?
No, you're right about that. Did you get the answer to our question? What does Faisal think of Gary?
He's extremely untidy and not very reliable.
What does Faisal think of Gary?
Well, he thinks Gary's extremely untidy and not very reliable. His desk really looks a bit of a mess, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. In the video, we saw people asking for confirmation. That's checking to make sure the other person agrees or the information is correct. Watch.
That's his desk, isn't it? You're good mates, aren't you?
It's been on the market for ages, hasn't it?
No one should be that rude, should they?
Gary's right. The customer was really rude, wasn't she?
Yes, I think she was. But Gary wasn't very helpful, was he?
So, to ask for confirmation from someone, we use a tag question.
Yes. If the sentence is affirmative, then the tag is negative. In Spanish, you say, la cliente fue muy maleducada, ¿no? The customer was really rude, wasn't she?
And if the sentence is negative, the tag is affirmative. In Spanish, you say, pero Gary no fue de mucha ayuda, ¿verdad? Gary wasn't very helpful, was he?
We also heard people showing approval and disapproval. Watch.
You're right about that. That's a good idea.
Yes, you're right about that, sorry.
No, I wouldn't do that if I were you. You shouldn't be so impatient or aggressive.
You know, I think Gary has a big problem. You really shouldn't behave like that at work.
You're right about that.
Well, let's see if things improve.
Yes, Gary and Susan are going to meet their client, the lovely Miss Walsh, again.
Let's see if they get on better this time.
Let's find out. See if you can answer this question. What does Susan think of Miss Walsh?
At first, I thought Ms. Walsh was a personal friend of Faisal's. Fortunately, I was wrong.
I've apologised to her, but I don't think it made any difference. I'll try to stay calm.
That's a good idea.
Miss Walsh, I don't think you've met Susan Myers. She's a colleague of mine.
Let's have a look around. What a revolting lamp. Look at this carpet. Oh, my gosh. What do you think of this? It's a mess, isn't it?
Well,
Ah, I suppose this room could be okay if we got rid of this horrible wallpaper.
you're probably right.
I don't suppose there's central heating, is there?
Yes? Are you looking for a property for yourself?
Goodness, no. It's part of a plan of mine to convert poor quality houses into accommodation for students. Well, I'll need a surveyor's report before I make an offer, but I don't think it's worth more than 200,000.
What about 215,000? Don't you think that's a fair price?
No, it's a ridiculous price.
What about 210?
Please advise the owner of my offer of 200,000.
Miss Walsh, I don't think she's going to be interested in this offer of yours.
Gary, you mustn't argue with the client. Miss Walsh, I do apologise. We have another property under £200,000. We think it's perfect for renting out to students.
Really?
Shall I organise a time to visit?
No thanks.
I've got to give you a final warning.
I'm sorry.
Why were you so angry with this woman?
I believe she's mean and dishonest.
What do you mean?
A close friend of mine used to be a tenant of Miss Walsh's. She paid her a deposit on the room that she rented. She kept the flat clean. She paid her rent on time. She didn't break anything.
Just give me my deposit back.
But when she came to leave, she didn't give her deposit back.
You shouldn't show your personal feelings at work.
It won't happen again.
I'm glad to hear it. She is the rudest client I know. Some colleagues of mine refuse to work with her. I won't say anything to Faisal this time.
Thank you, Susan.
That didn't go very well. So, what does Susan think of Miss Walsh?
She is the rudest client I know.
Susan thinks she's the rudest client she knows.
Well, that's true. Miss Walsh was really horrible.
Yes, she was. In the video, we heard people asking for opinions. Watch.
Don't you think that's a fair price?
We also heard people giving opinions. Watch.
I suppose this room could be okay if we got rid of this horrible wallpaper.
We think it's perfect for renting out to students.
Really?
I believe she's mean and dishonest.
Ashley, what do you think of Miss Walsh?
I wouldn't like to be her tenant, inquilino. I don't think she's a very nice landlady, casera. She seems very mean, tacaña.
You're right. I believe she's really unfriendly. We also heard people talking about possession using a double genitive. Watch.
At first, I thought Ms. Walsh was a personal friend of Faisal's.
A close friend of mine used to be a tenant of Miss Walsh's.
So we use of and the person it relates to with apostrophe S.
Yes, for example, Lois, my new flatmate, is a colleague of my brother's.
We can also use of and possessive pronouns, as in these examples. Watch.
Miss Walsh, I don't think you've met Susan Myers. She's a colleague of mine. Miss Walsh, I don't think she's going to be interested in this offer of yours.
Or another example, David is a good friend of hers.
OK, let's see what people in the street say about this question. Do you trust your first impressions?
First impressions are everything. Your first 5 seconds, you know whether you actually want to know that person or not, or you think you do.
I definitely trust my first instincts. I think you can tell a lot about a person in the first few minutes.
Yes, I usually trust my first instincts with people. I think part of it is a fairly good sense of intuition.
I think first impression is always going to tell you what somebody is like.
I most definitely trust my gut instinct, and that's been proved to be right on so many occasions. And I teach my children if there's something you're feeling, then you need to trust that.
Yes, definitely. I think you can tell a lot about people from your first impression or your first experience with them.
I do. I think I have a quite good, sixth sense, I would say. When I see somebody, I can tell whether they are a nice person or not, and it usually turns out to be right. So yes, I do. First impression for me is the only impression, really.
I do trust my first impressions of people, but some people always surprise you.
Generally, I think we're pretty good at judging people's characters straight away, first impression.
Wow, just about everyone said they trust their first impressions. What do you think, Anita?
No, I'm often wrong. I like people at first and then find out they aren't so nice.
I hope my first impression of my new flatmate, Lois, is right.
Oh, don't worry, Ashley. I'm sure she's a wonderful person.
I hope so. Well, goodbye. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Do you think I should go home and tidy the flat?